Welcome to the Week 4 edition of the Cash Process. I'm your host, Ben Hosser. I'm joined by the CEO himself, Anthony Carson. We are coming to you, brought to you by OwnersBox Fantasy. If you guys have watched our videos this season and have not yet checked out OwnersBox Fantasy, I'm not sure what you're waiting for. Travis made another video on the YouTube channel. Go watch it. He's up to 30,000 in winnings on their Lightning lineups contests. So they have regular DFS and they have Lightning lineups. So I've said it before. I think if you're relatively new to the DFS space, if you're looking to grow a bankroll, I think Lightning lineups on OwnersBox Fantasy, if you're an eligible state, is the way to do it. You don't have to compete against thousands of other people. You don't have to worry about the top-heavy payouts. You simply get a set of players and you pick which player set you think is going to score the most fantasy points. It's very simple. We have OwnersBox projections on our website, and you can use that to assist you. And you can also get in our Discord, which is free. And Travis and I give out picks, which player sets we're trying to get. You can spin the player sets as many times, so we can say these are the guys we're looking for, and you guys can go on there and try and get them in your own player sets. So shout out to OwnersBox for sponsoring the podcast. Promo code KARMA at OwnersBox.online gets you a $500 deposit match and a free $10 entry to use on Lightning lineups. Gives you a free $10 entry into their DFS big tournament of the week as well. Anthony, 3-0 for myself on main slates. This has happened a couple times, but I said it in Discord on Sunday night. I said I have never felt as dialed in as I am right now. So obviously, we're not going to win every week. But I said it at the beginning of the season, no one is going to work harder than me and some of the guys we have in our Discord. And I feel really dialed in right now. 3-0 for myself. I know you had a good week as well. So, how was week 3 for you? What did you do with we got to talk about it a little bit. What did you do with like the Mac Hollins situation there?
Oh, yeah, that was crazy. First off, what a week. This is going to be a really good podcast. Tune in, stay for this one. I can assure you, Ben and I were talking about it before we got on here. But yeah, thanks for the opening on OwnersBox real quick with them. I mean, they're a great partner of ours. I got to admit, once again, we all troll each other as business associates in Discord and stuff. My God, Travis, let's be real. He's killing it, Ben. He's up.
And it's Travis. Like, he's not good. If he's doing this, if you're actually good, think of what you can do. Like,
exactly. Here's the deal. Travis is very good about finding edges in life, period, as well with a lot of these sport platforms that, have come and gone over the years. But OwnersBox seems super intriguing. I'm not just saying that being biased. I really like the Lightning lineups. Unfortunately for me in Ohio, as well with you, we're on the brink of getting it approved. I think it's January 1st, but there are a number of states where it's approved. And again, you're playing as a team with everybody else. You're not going against other people. So there's some nostalgia to that. And there is a lot of money to be made. So again, if you're struggling growing your bankroll on DraftKings or FanDuel, which we'll talk about today, head over to our website, click on the banner. There is a deposit bonus, and join us in Discord, and we will show you. We will literally show you what we're doing. You can't mess up. Okay, Ben, let's go to DraftKings, FanDuel, cash games, tournaments. Holy crap, what a week. Let's just bring in the swag a little bit because you're right.
It was a great week.
We're not going to win every week. This is an amazing week. Again, I feel like the last couple of years, you and I have just, I don't know if it's been peak performance, but we are hitting our ceiling in NFL DFS. Our Discord continues to grow. Our community continues to grow. Hop in, guys, dfskarma.com. We're literally handing you our core plays that we are talking about, our success we're having to start the year. So Ben is 3-0 on both sides. A lot of people have been wondering. I have been playing a little bit more FanDuel. I don't know why. Just really a main lineup there. I didn't get away from it the last couple of years, but I was kind of transferring my life to
FanDuel has turned into like my guilty pleasure. I like FanDuel NFL now. I don't know why.
It's the girlfriend we always go back to, right? So FanDuel's, and we're making FanDuel fun again, I guess. So hop into Discord because I'm literally dropping my core in Discord as well as the website. So I've had a lot of success on FanDuel over the years, period. It kind of led down this path, to be quite honest. It really was me. I was a FanDuel player. And then, obviously DraftKings. I did lose cash games. We'll talk about that in DraftKings. I tried making a pivot because I thought I was a little bit far behind. I did make a pivot. It didn't turn out well, but I was happy with the process because there is going to be weeks. And again, I was literally talking to Ben, are we making a pivot here? Like, he was doing very well, and he thought that I should, and ultimately I should have. I probably would have lost no matter what. So that's something to think about in the 4 o'clock slate. Make sure you have a 4 o'clock guy in your flex if you can, unless you're playing all 1 o'clock guys. But I had an unbelievable GPP week. I was this close from a 6-figure win. It felt like it was actually going to happen. I needed a monster game from Tyler Lockett. He had 9 catches. It was just a little bit too short. I needed that 3-point bonus. Probably needed a touchdown in all fairness, but at the end of the day, he only had 76 yards, and that bumped me down a little bit. But that was one of my 3 max entry GPPs I play. That was essentially like a 14x hit across all lineups. That saved my day. So that's why we talk about on this podcast weekly. Yes, we'll break down our value plays. Don't worry, guys. We're going to head there in a second. But let's also discuss some 3 max entry type stuff because it can save your weeks. All right, Ben, I'm going back to you. We'll talk about this slate. Anything else that you want to cover from week 3 before we get into week 4? And again, tell them where they can find your, information in core plays.
Yeah. Like you said, dfskarma.com. You can get access to my core plays that I play, my main team. It was a great week. So the Matt Collins stuff, I just want to touch on that because we had a long conversation on the Sunday morning stream. If you guys were in there, I'm sure a lot of people that watch this video join us on Sunday mornings, 11 a.m. Every week we go live. We answer your questions before the slate locks. It was kind of what to do with Matt Collins. So I know I texted you about Matt Collins pretty early in the week last week, like Wednesday, Thursday. I had him in my main lineup all weekend. And then this news came out like late Saturday night that Sammy Watkins obviously was going to be out. Christian Watson was also going to be out. So that kind of like opened up Romeo Doubs, who was, like 600-700 more than Matt Collins. So what I ended up doing was Sam and I talked about it on the Sunday show. Like Matt Collins was going to be popular. And I think he ended up like 30% in cash because there was just no value. I ended up not even playing Matt Collins in my cash team. He was in my main tournament team. So I had a really good week overall. But yeah, we smashed even without even having Matt Collins because we had Jalen Hurts. The biggest thing for us was avoiding that David Montgomery. I think you had David Montgomery on DraftKings, right? Like I didn't have him, so everyone that tailed me, like that was like our big advantage. He was almost 80% owned in cash and got 1 point.
I will say I did 2 things. I owe you a response on the former there, but I felt like on DraftKings I did make the right play with David Montgomery because per my strategy with 3 max entry stuff, complete fade everywhere else. It was just so easy.
Yeah,
It's like,
all
right,
fading an 80% in cash is never like a good feeling, Like
and
that,
if he
that
goes
never
off,
feels good.
you got to admit, Ben, if he kind of goes off even for 4x and you don't have him, you better pray that the rest of your lineup has ceiling upside because I felt like that was the issue there. And on FanDuel, I did not play him because, I preferred cheaper guys in that same game, Mr. Pierce, which helped me out tremendously on FanDuel, and I faded him on FanDuel, so that worked out big time. And then lastly, the response I owe you is I did not play him in cash only because I didn't trust the situation as much. I really just saw like this 18 target Devontae Adams game coming. It was more of a gut call. I was wrong on that. But yeah, I did have Max Hollins in this GPP that, I had a 14x and almost a 6-figure win with. And that's where I made my money on Max Hollins was one of my GPP teams. All right, let's go into this week. Yep. Night and day different slate, I think, as far as week 3 to week 4 goes. We do have a London game, so it's a 12-game slate. But as far as I can see, I'm looking at betkarma.com, the live trends tool. There isn't a lot of high totals this week, which I kind of like. I mean, believe me, I want more points, but I like that there might be some different ways to go.
Yeah, before I start off at quarterback, I got to ask you a question. I am not beard guy. I hate having a beard, and I have not shaved. So I have this beard, and I'm 3-0 on the main slates. So and I want to shave this off so bad, but do I have to keep it until I lose, or do we not worry about that?
Yeah, I would keep it going because I get those kind of things going.
I know I get like that too, man. But I want to shave it so bad.
You can always trim it up, a little bit.
Yeah. All right, we'll see what happens. But all right, so starting off at quarterback, I think at least early look, it's Tuesday. We don't really know yet, but it doesn't appear that there's going to be overly an amount of value again. So it could be more of like a balanced week again. So I think DraftKings did a good job of pricing, these quarterbacks. They priced them up, right? Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Lamar, all over 8K. I don't like paying 8K for a quarterback in like my main team or like cash games, but it's really hard to argue what any of these three guys are doing right now. So I do think that, it's warranted that they're over 8K. But I don't know, like, if we'll be able to fit them. Like, we'll wait and see. Like, if I'm picking of those three, I don't know. Lamar, so Ravens, Buffalo, like, that's one of the big games on the slate, right? 51.5 over under. It's really tough to argue, like, what he's been doing. I think he went back-to-back 40-plus point games from Lamar. I mean, just absolutely balling out. He bet on himself, didn't take that contract that they offered him, and he's just balling out. So, tough to argue. Hurts at home looks good. Can't argue with any of them. So, a couple weeks ago, week 2, we spent down and we played Derek Carr, right? And I talked about this last week a few times. When we spent down, there was no good quarterbacks on that slate other than Lamar, who no one was playing. So you weren't really sacrificing a ton of points. This week, if you spend down, again, you're missing out on potential 30-plus points from Josh Allen, Hurts, Lamar. So I do think that if it's a situation like last week and there's not a ton of value, I think Marcus Mariota, who early last week looked like he could be pretty chalky, I think he could get some ownership here, right? They're at home. It's a 50 over-under. And he's 5,600, and he does have some rushing upside. So I think Marcus Mariota is in the cash pool right now. I don't know because it's not late in the week, but I think it's him and like the three expensive guys for me right now, to be honest.
Yeah, there's no debate. I don't even need to touch on this. Like, you hit every point that I would make. I mean, it's Allen, Hurts, or Jackson. Pick one. I mean, I'm assuming I'm going to make the money to have one of them. I'd be surprised right now if I am paying down. It does suck that we're paying up this high for a quarterback, but you will lose this slate if you fade one of the three. I really don't think it matters which one you take, to be honest. So
yeah, they're definitely similar. They're definitely all. I mean, they're going to project similarly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think one will be significantly higher owned? I mean, I think it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Lamar. The only reason I say that is because I feel like the national media right now is just pouring gasoline on how unbelievable. And obviously with Jalen, but there's this stigma about Lamar just being this like just God type player, which I'm not arguing, but that's just what I think. I think he'll be the one that's a little bit more popular, followed by Hurts, and then Allen, ironically, will be third least popular, but he's obviously still an amazing play. Real quick, Ben, is the Baltimore secondary still in shambles? Because that's all I need to know.
Yeah, I think if you go on IR, I think you have to miss 4 weeks. So they definitely still will be missing like Marcus Peters. We'll wait and see like later on about like, the other guys that have been banged up. But I mean, regardless, I think that their defense, I mean, they fired the defensive coordinator and they're kind of like having the same issues. Like their issues last year were tackling, like allowing a ton of yards after the catch. And it's kind of been the same problems this season as well.
I would probably pick actually the more I think about it, between Jackson or Allen, because if one of them has an amazing game, then the other is. And if Hurts somehow Miles Sanders scores 2 touchdowns and they're up like 17-0. And for, again, Jacksonville's coming from the West Coast to the East Coast. Like this could just be a random, 24-3 type game.
For sure. Like I will note though, like it's good to see Hurts really did not get there running the ball last week, like at all. Like I feel like last year, if he didn't do anything running, like he was not going to have a good fantasy game, but he threw for 3 touchdowns. He got the 300-yard bonus passing. So that's definitely good to see. Like that makes you feel a little bit better about him. But I mean, that Ravens-Bills game is going to dominate like attention, for sure.
Before we move to running back again, we're just always sprinkling in a couple 3 max entry type stuff. Here's something you're going to hear in the podcast from me this week. I'm going right back to the well. Tyler Lockett, I'm not mad at you. You did cost me, $100,000. I'm definitely going to attack a GPP, stacking Geno, DK, and Lockett only because I just love that. I don't know. I love that game for some reason. Dome game too, but that's something I'm looking at as far as one of my GPP plays of the week.
Yeah, that game's really good. I mean, 50 over under, I think, or around there.
But you always play that stack, Ben. Come on, you know that.
Oh no, for sure. Yeah, we'll be see. That's a really good tournament. Really good tournament target. Running back. I think it's gonna be once again, like a pay up to be contrarian type week. Like I don't think any of these expensive running backs will be super high owned in cash games. We are waiting on some injuries here. So the big injury stuff, there's like 3. So 2 of them are at running back. It's David Montgomery and DeAndre Swift. I'm going to assume DeAndre Swift to be out, based on what Dan Campbell, like how he was talking to the media about him yesterday. So Jamal Williams, he's not overly cheap. He's 6,100. When we saw Swift out like later last season, they did kind of mix other guys in, but Jamal Williams was also really banged up like at that time as well. So they have Jamal Williams and they have like Craig Reynolds, but I'm sure Jamal Williams will project pretty good in a 50 over under at 6,100 if DeAndre Swift is out. So we'll see on that. Montgomery, Khalil Herbert has just a really, really good role when David Montgomery is out. And I think Khalil Herbert has juice. I think he's actually a pretty good running back. He's on like the most run heavy team in the NFL. They just don't throw the ball. I don't know. It's insane. The Bears do not throw the ball. So Khalil Herbert will definitely be in play. Should David Montgomery miss? Outside of those two guys, I mean, do you see anyone you like? I mean, I don't really like any of these running back plays. It's gross.
Yeah, I mean, if Swift out, obviously it's just a lock for Jamal Williams. I mean, just play him in cash. I would be careful fading him though in tournaments. I mean, if you're playing, say, 3 tournament rosters, I mean, honestly, I probably will go a little bit overweight in general. Just the Seahawks are atrocious, man. Like, I mean, Cordell Patterson just ran all over them. That's something to monitor. I think the Seahawks they're really bad, right? And then week 1, Denver was running all over them. So I just feel like if it is Jamal, he's going to eat, but it could be it reminds me of that Madison
and you
game.
You feel good about him. Like, he's going to get the red zone stuff too, because he was already getting the red zone stuff anyway. So
yeah, he's I think that's probably good chalk for the first time this year if that does play out. But to your point, yeah, like if you're paying up at running back, and Ben, one of these weeks, the paying up strategy at running back is going to destroy this.
Yeah, the Jonathan Taylor just hasn't scored touchdowns. Like, he's going to score touchdowns one game. He's going to have a big game. Derrick Henry had a big game last week finally. I
mean, CMC's going to see a lot of plays.
McCaffrey is going to have a good game at some point as well.
That Arizona team runs a lot of plays, and CMC's just not going to be owned probably, relatively speaking. Same with, like you said, JT. But yeah, other than that, one of my favorite plays on the entire slate by far is both of the Browns running backs. I mean, people, again, it's Nick Chubb. To me, it's Derrick Henry. Like, just replace the names. It doesn't matter, but you get the discount. Like, I will never personally pay up for Henry on a slate when I can get I guess their prices are becoming closer more I look at it. This is one of the first weeks I've seen that, but he's still cheaper. And then, dude, Kareem Hunt's in play. I mean, for like a leverage type play, right? So, he's seeing 15 touches a game in a dome game. Nobody's playing Kareem Hunt, I've noticed, on slates again this year. And it's just like last week's slate was a bad running back slate when you had the most random guys scoring 20 points, 15 points. Kareem Hunt can easily be one of those guys on a slate, like potentially next week as well. Like, you just need enough from him, So again, that's century stuff. So
yeah, I don't see anyone else really in like the mid tier though. Like, do you see any? I will say we got to talk about Barkley a little bit. He's 8K. I think if I was spending up on someone, it might be him, just because his role has been so good. I mean, he gets so many catches. He barely leaves the field. Chicago is a team, and I targeted him in week 1 with Elijah Mitchell. He got hurt, but like, they're not a great run defense right now. And then obviously we played Pierce against them last week. So I think if I was spending over 8K, I might pick Barkley as the guy, to be honest.
Speaking of a guy in the mid tier, I mean, hey, Pierce is there at 5,600. I mean,
that's who I was going to bring up for sure, especially against the Chargers. I mean, they lost Bosa. Yeah. They're not a good run defense in general anyways. Like, it's not even that their run defense is bad. It's just they would willingly give up, more rushes than they do passes. And yeah, James Robinson was like running wild on them last week. So yeah, Dameon Pierce
get any
for sure. No, he doesn't. He got like, I think 2. Rex Burkhead is still the pass catching back, for sure. But I mean, after week 1, he has dominated the rush attempts.
I still wouldn't shy away from it. The last guy I'll mention, me, Ben. I always got freaking love for Michael Carter. I'll always bring him up. He's always in one of my lineups every week. I love the price, 5,200. I feel like I'm getting 10 points from him automatically every week. So that's just something I kind of toss out there for GPPs, even in weird cash games. So let's go to wide receiver. Who are you looking at?
Yeah, I think Steph Diggs will be chalk again. They moved his price up 8,400. Didn't have an amazing game last week, but it's the highest over-under on the slate. People are probably going to be playing Lamar, Josh Allen, whatever. He's going to be high owned for sure. This is the other injury thing that we need to watch. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's 7,700. I don't know like necessarily what his ownership will be if he's able to play just because of like the whole injury stuff. Like it's gonna really depend on his injury news. But if he's out, yeah, I think some of these Detroit receivers are in play. DJ Chark is around 5K. Josh Reynolds is someone they like. He has big playability. He's like 46. And that's a really good over-under, right? 50 points. So we'll wait and see on Amon-Ra later in the week. Outside of those two guys at the top, like I don't love anyone, other than those. Like there's no Justin Jefferson on this slate. I mean, you have Devontae there, but I would rather play Steph than Devontae for like cash games if I'm picking one of them, and you're probably not going to be playing both.
Yeah.
So I'll probably be dropping down to like this mid-tier. I like Cortland Sutton. I've been a big Cortland Sutton guy this whole offseason. These people that, for whatever reason, thought Jerry Jeudy was going to be better than him, Cortland Sutton's the guy. He's second in the NFL in percentage of his team's air yards at 47%. I saw a good stat from, I think, Scott Barrett on Twitter before we got on here, but he's the first read in their offense. It's been around 40% of the time, so it's clearly like he's the guy there, and it's a good matchup against Vegas. So I like him at his price, and then there's some cheaper guys we can talk about, but for as far as like mid-tier and upper-tier guys, who do you like? I think it's Steph Diggs at the top. I don't hate the Philly guys if you're playing Hurts, but I mean Diggs is going to be the highest owned again, I think, of the spend-ups.
I know it sucks. I don't know, and again, because it's early, I haven't really made a lineup yet, but I feel like just the way the slate looks, like it might be hard to fit Diggs. I mean, I could be wrong, but unless there's more value than we think later in the week, that's just the early thoughts. But yeah, it's Diggs up top. Again, before I drop down, the Sun God at 7,700, Ben, is going to fit so nicely. If he gets talked down all week, like he's going to be out, no one's going to play him anyways, because that's how DFS is. Like he'll be owned, but he won't be owned if you understand. And the Sun God with DK Metcalf and Lockett with Geno Smith, that is going to be an amazing. I want you to talk about that in your podcast with Sam and Matt this week and see what they think.
Yeah, dude, it feels so good. Like I have Amon-Ra on like every season-long team. Like it just feels good that he's actually been that good.
Same.
Like hopefully he's okay. I was so sad when he went down.
He almost got in for a touchdown on that.
Yeah, no, I know, and I mean he came back in the game, so we'll see. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
So there's a couple mid-tier guys. Yeah, Cortland Sutton. Dude, this is like. Go ahead.
He's the better player.
For sure. He is.
He reminds me of a younger Julio Jones in a weird way. I mean, that's the vibe I get when I see him running around out there.
Yeah, there's not a lot of bigger guys anymore. I feel like all these guys that come in that have juice are a little bit smaller.
I keep mentioning Lockett. I know that's like my 3 max entry leverage, but dude, he is a value. He's like a typical cash play. I mean, 5,900 kind of like looks intriguing, honestly, for cash. The more I freaking look at it, I hope he doesn't get steamed. But all these, I feel like so many people play the Brandon Cooks of the world. I get it, but I never play him. He's 5,800. Again, I'd rather have Tyler Lockett for 100 more all day. Like, it's not even a debate. Man, DJ Moore's 5,300. Like, what?
I can't do it. I can't do it, dude. I don't think I can do it. It's way too cheap. Man. It's way too cheap, but I don't know. I don't know if I can do it. The Seattle guys, we need to see. Everyone knows I'm not a huge wide receiver and cornerback guy. Like, I just don't care a ton about the matchups and stuff. But Jeffrey Okudah, who went to Ohio State, was a top 5 pick for the Detroit Lions. Really injury prone to start his career. He's healthy, and he absolutely shut down Devonta Smith in week 1. Had no catches. And they did bracket Justin Jefferson last week, but he was on Justin Jefferson a lot. And Justin Jefferson did not have a good game. So that guy looks legit. So whichever of Metcalf or Lockett is going to be on him, I haven't checked or looked, but just let it be known.
Can you update that?
Yeah. We'll definitely dive in.
What if he's on Metcalf then? That's
I'm assuming he probably will be, and they're not the same build. Like DK Metcalf is so different than anyone else to cover. So in that, if he's on Metcalf, in instance, I probably won't weight it as heavily because he's not a bigger guy. Like, DK Metcalf is so much different than any other receiver, I don't know. We'll have to see later in the week, but that's just something to keep in mind. There's some cheaper guy. Well, first of all, I think Drake London will be in play against the Browns because we kind of were talking about it prior to this, but the Browns don't have anybody bigger to like match up with him, right? Like he's so tall. Most of their corners are pretty small. There's a couple cheaper guys. Romeo Dobbs again at 4,500. We'll wait and see what's going on with Watson. I'm assuming will be back, but Sammy Watkins was placed on IR, so he's going to be out. And I mean, Romeo Dobbs, that might have been enough to earn, the trust of Aaron Rodgers. He didn't have any drops. He scored a touchdown. He led the team in targets, and he's only 4,500. So, we'll consider him, I think. I don't want to play Nelson Aguilar, but he's 3,900, and he'll probably project well if I had to guess. I haven't looked at our projections portal yet, but I'm assuming because he's 3,900, Nelson Aguilar will project well. But with Mac Jones out, that's probably something that I will not be interested in.
Yeah. Some of the Giants receivers probably are going to be in play because Sterling Shepard's out with a torn ACL.
Yeah, that's a great call. So they have Sterling Shepard out. Wan'Dale Robinson, I haven't checked, but I'm assuming he will be out. And then Kenny Golladay is they just don't want to play him. I don't know. They don't want to play him. So Kadarius Toney was doubtful for this past week. If he is going to play this week, I think he's 4,100. First of all, Kadarius Toney gets steamed all the time anyways. Like he was chalk week 1 and like barely played. So if Kadarius Toney is going to get like playing time this week, he will definitely be a chalky DFS play for sure.
But to your point with Chicago, like that's just low volume of plays. That's not enough snaps. Like I mentioned earlier, like I'm interested in the games with the Cardinals of the world. Like I want the guys that I just know there's going to be more snaps. To me, it's like I'd be willing to fade a play that gets steamed like that. I don't want that chalk. I don't see them burning me.
Yeah. So to your point, though, there's no way DJ Moore is not like high owned, right? I mean, 5,300. It's just the name alone. DJ Moore, he will be owned.
Game environment. As much as we hate on Baker, he's going to have more throws this week. Dude, you got to figure 3 weeks into the season, these coordinators are looking at the stats like, wait, DJ Moore has like 2 catches. I don't know what it is, but it's bad.
Did you see the Dan Orlovsky thing about their offense that he did?
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't click it, but apparently he like broke it down on ESPN one day. Like whenever McCaffrey lines up lateral to Baker, they do like one thing, and then whenever he's like 1 yard behind him, they do another thing. Like, and they do it every time apparently or something. But I'm assuming they've made some adjustments since Dan Orlovsky posted that. But like, dude, Ben McAdoo is just the worst, dude.
The worst.
All right.
Anyone else?
Nah, I mean there'll probably be some more guys like throughout the week. That always seems to happen, right? Like obviously Matt Collins wasn't really on our radar when we made this video last week, and then he became pretty critical throughout the week. So there'll always be some guys. I don't know. Other guys I'd throw out. Treylon Burks at 4,700 is interesting. I don't really. Probably just like Burks for right now. Josh Palmer, if Keenan's out again, we'll wait and see on Herbert. But Josh Palmer actually, I think, led them in targets last week, and he's always been good when Keenan's been out. So.
Before you start tight end, can we just abolish defense? I feel like that's why I lost last week.
Yeah, it's the worst.
I played the Panthers. Somehow they were 35% owned. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's not like I thought they were great, bad, or indifferent. There was just 9 teams at like 2,500 that like all projected for like the same points. Like, sorry, I picked the wrong one, guys. Like, that's what frustrated me. Like, that's why I had to make a pivot because I didn't have the Panthers. My team was actually not bad for cash.
Yeah.
So
defense sucks. That's why we play on OwnersBox Fantasy. There's no defense. There's 2 flex spots. There's a super flex spot. It's just way better. But yeah, so tight end here. Per usual, like I'm looking to save money at tight end, but there's just the last few weeks, I feel like it's been pretty clear that there's like some cheap guys, right? Like last week, we knew on Tuesday, like Irv Smith's gonna be massive chalk, right? And he was. I don't really see that person this week. You can always spend up on these guys in tournaments, but if there's limited value again, I don't see how you could get up to like a Mark Andrews for cash games. Like it's just not gonna be possible. So I think for cash, like Logan Thomas is 3,300. He didn't do anything last week, but I could see him getting steamed. He's gonna have some ownership. Tyler Conklin has kind of been doing some stuff for the Jets. He's 36. David Najoku, highest snap count of the year this past week on Thursday Night Football. Obviously, he broke out. He had his like best career game. I think he's interesting at 37. I don't really see anyone like below 3K. I guess like Hunter Henry's are at 29, but you have to factor in that he's gonna have Brian Hoyer at quarterback. So I'd really have to consider playing him.
Yeah, I mean, he is interesting actually. 2,900. Gerald Everett. I don't know if you mentioned him. 4,000. I mean, he's a freak, and I feel like I played a lot of Everett in my career, but
I
4,000
think
does seem cheap.
I might like. I don't know. Am I wrong here? I think I would take Hawkinson at 41 over
Yeah.
Everett at 4K maybe.
I was actually just going to say, I think he'll be the chalk guy of the week, especially if the Sun God is trending down towards not playing. I feel like he's a must play. The more I talk about it, this freaking Seattle-Detroit game is going to be.
We'll just stack that game in cash and not worry about anything else.
In summary, it's
forget
the best
Bills, Ravens. Give us Lions, Seahawks, dude.
I mean, that's the play, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's Hawkinson right now. I will say, I feel like I've lost so many slates in my DFS career the weeks that I just like don't play Mark Andrews. I got to play this guy more often. I mean, I somehow got away last week without having any exposure to my 3 max. Like, I don't know. This guy just continues to burn me and haunt me. But,
yeah, we both had really good tournament teams, and like the fact that I was 12 points off of King of the Beach with no Lamar and no Andrews, like that's crazy.
We had a better week than we even thought we had.
Yeah,
I felt the same
for sure.
Definitely like a player there. But yeah, man, it's again. Let's go into week 4, everybody. If you can, give us a shout out on YouTube, please. We love it. It helps us out. Just give us a like. You want to comment? Ben, myself, Travis, and the other guys are commenting back with you guys. We mentioned earlier, you can talk to us all week, literally, because these are not final decisions.
24/7 in Discord. Like you can ask us anything. You can ask me whatever you want.
I think at night I fall asleep with like the Discord app just on my eyeballs. And then I wake up and it's like still on somehow. So we're on there. All of us, is not just Ben and I, for all sports. I mean, we do everything. You guys know the drill, everything at Bet Karma as well. So we do appreciate it. You guys can check out our websites and, subscribe to the premium stuff. Good luck, and we will talk to you next week.